Back by popular demand, it's Hand Raise Guys. You guys have been asking for it. Here we are. Hand Raise Guys brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. If you live in the Oxford, Tupelo area, get in touch with the people at Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, South Haven, Memphis, that area, it's Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, but it's the same people. So you get the same service, the same great quality. 662-429-4429. Our thanks to them for sponsoring Hand Raise Guys. This will be the Friday morning Oxford Exxon podcast as well. We're in the Clark Ford studio, 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. The rest is up to you. Yeah, we got bad weather here in Oxford as we record this on Thursday night, I should say. 662-257-1900. Call that number, ask for Corey, get a quote. The rest is up to you. Shop it around, do what I've done, hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the product, you'll love the service, you'll love everything about Clark Ford and all the people there. We'll take calls later on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Water open this weekend at Sardis. Also, Rafters on the Square, I suspect will be buzzing because Oxford is buzzing this week. And I suspect this weekend it'll be even crazier. I think bid day here is Sunday.
Sounds right.
You're not keeping up?
I'm not keeping up.
You're not locked into the Oxford sorority scene?
No. That's literally nothing to do with me, thank God, right now. Okay. So, yeah, no.
Pretty sure it's Sunday. So it'll be a lot going on here this weekend. So you can check it out at Rafters. Be a great place to post up, get a meal, grab a couple of drinks there at Rafters, and also Rafters in New Albany. Chase, how are you?
I'm lovely. We lost the signal. We're watching some preseason NFL. Got, I guess, Little League baseball on over here on the new screen.
The new screen?
That is, obviously nobody here can see it, but that's new for the Clark Ford studio here in the last week or so, which it will be a big deal during football season because it gives us another screen,
I was going to turn Ole Miss
game.
East Tennessee soccer on, but they're in a weather delay.
Yeah, it is pouring here locally in the Oxford area, to the point of it was not far off from people like pulling off the side of the highway, kind of pouring on the way over here. It was really coming down. So yeah, that's.
So Will Murphy says, "Who's the weirdest one between the two of you?" In a funny, nice way.
Yeah, are you going to build a scene, or are we just going to talk about it? What are we going to do?
I can absolutely build a scene.
It's up to you.
It wouldn't take but a minute.
Lane Kiffin, his press conference today.
I should have built it earlier. I can build it on the fly. It's not hard.
It takes you no time at all to do those things.
Let me make sure that I've got it here in my Finder. So I know I downloaded it, but I need to make sure that it's. Yeah, there it is. Do you want me to play it so we can set this up?
Do you want to?
Let's set the stage a little,
okay.
Then we'll play it, and then we'll come back, and I suspect we'll talk about it. And
okay.
I feel bad about what we're about to do, sort of.
Well, because we're to some degree hazing a guy that's been on the beat like 2 weeks.
So let me set this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because today was my day. Chase and I sort of struck a deal earlier in the week. We have media availability this week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I said, hey, I'll take Tuesday, Thursday if you'll take Saturday because it's going to be me and Carson this weekend. Because it's bid day at Arkansas on Saturday morning, and Laura's leaving for that. So Chase took that deal. It's not a bad deal, 2 for 1, but he gets the Saturday, and I don't. So normally it starts about 11:55. They schedule for 11:45. It never starts on time, except today. And I couldn't find a place to park. And so by the time I got there, it was 11:47. And I'd missed the first minute and a half. Adam Kuffner was like, hey, we actually started on time. And I said, how much have I missed? And he said, about a minute and a half. Okay. And I said, okay. I sat down. Lane's talking. So I sit over to the side because I don't want to do anything to disrupt the press conference. But at this point, he's talking about Matt Corral. And I have no idea what I've missed. And so I'm not going to be the guy that asks a question only to find out that, hey, dumbass, if you hadn't been late, you'd know that I already answered that question, which would be a more than fair criticism. So I said,
but some people ask the same question even when they're in the room the whole time. So, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
I try not to be that person. I don't sense that Lane is crazy about me, but I think he respects me. There seems to be some respect. And so I said, I'm going to sit this one out. And then the question came. And the question was, and as soon as he started it.
You can see Neal feels really badly about this, by the way.
Yeah. As soon as he started it, I closed my eyes like, oh my God.
How often does that happen? Because seriously, there's sometimes where I'm really bad about it to the point of I can get very uncomfortable with what's going on around me.
Yeah.
I'll get to the point where I even close my ears. I literally can't listen to the rest of this question for the next 5 seconds because I know what's coming.
I bit my tongue.
Did you really?
Literally, because
you were worried you were going to snicker?
No. I started to say out loud, oh, come on, that's really out of context.
So what's it in relation to?
So the other day,
for people that have watched nothing,
so let's do this Henry Parrish thing without joking about my man crush on Henry Parrish's running skills.
Okay.
Henry Parrish, the Ole Miss running back, talked to the media. It was the first time he ever came and talked to the media since he's been at Ole Miss on Tuesday.
That's true.
And Lane, I knew we were getting Henry. We got Lane first, and then we got Henry. And so I asked a Henry Parrish question because the way this works is I'm already thinking I'm going to write a Henry Parrish story. So let me get a Lane Kiffin quote in case Henry Parrish is not a very good quote because I've never talked to him before. Sure. I don't know. He might be the greatest quote in the world. He might be the worst quote in the world. He might be somewhere in between. Turns out he's actually a pretty good quote. Anyway, I get the quote from Kiffin. And then when Parrish comes in, one of Lane's things that he said was he was going to come to us had we stayed at FAU. I'm paraphrasing. Essentially, he was going to go wherever we went, meaning we being he and Kevin Smith and a handful of the people that came with him from FAU to Ole Miss.
Correct.
And so I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a pretty good hook to a story. I'll ask Henry about that. And I said, so Lane said he kind of felt like you would have gone wherever they went. And he's like, yeah, I did. And so the natural question was, because I need this quote for a story. This way people are like, why are you asking? What is it about him that made it where you would have gone, to Boca Raton, to Fayetteville, to Oxford, or to anywhere else where he might have suddenly popped up? Which I thought was a pretty good question. Sure. And I got a great answer. And the answer was, and I wish I had my Twitter up right now. Let me see if I can find it. We got time.
On this show especially. I'm just kind of hanging out.
Because I tweeted it. Where is it? Yep, here we go. The quote. It's just Coach Kiffin. Everybody likes Coach Kiffin. He's not like other coaches. He's himself. Everybody thinks he's weird and all that, but he's a good coach, very chill. Yeah, that's the quote. So today, in the press conference...
Everybody thinks he's weird and all that, but he's a good coach, very chill. Yeah.
In the press conference, the question was asked, so Henry Parrish was in here yesterday or whatever, and he said, and I quote, Coach Kiffin's very weird. That was all that he...
Yeah, that's not...
And that's not what Henry Parrish really said. Did he say everybody thinks Kiffin is weird? Yes. Was there more to it in the front and the back? Yes.
Lane was really confused.
Yeah, Lane didn't know how to answer it.
Lane hates press conferences. These press conferences.
He hates these press conferences. Yeah. He hates local media press conferences
with lots of minutia.
Because we ask questions that he doesn't want to answer. He's basically told us with his body language and his words that he's not going to answer them, and yet we keep asking. And I get it why some people do it. We're on the beat. We cover minutia on the beat. And there are people in the audience that do want to know about the third string tight end. Not many, but some. And frankly, it's one of the reasons we've done really well. If you want to know the truth. I think I'm understanding, and I know you understand, that the majority of the audience is not into the minutia of the roster. It's football. Are we going to be good? Are we going to be bad? What should I be worried about? hey, we play Saturday. I'm going to have a beer. What do you think? And then let me get to know the players a little bit. So I wrote about Henry Parrish. I wrote about Chance Campbell today. Write about players. People like to get to know the guys that they cheer for on Saturday afternoon. I've figured that out. You figured that out. It's one of the things. So Kiffin didn't like the question. And then he gave an answer.
He was confused by the question. Not even really confused, but when you have to give an answer and you're caught off guard, you're giving no real context, and frankly, you feel like you're insulted a little bit. It's a hard sell to figure out where to go with it.
Yeah. So do you want me to build it real quick and do it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So
we're just playing the whole press conference, or you're just playing that?
I can forward to it once I load it in.
Okay, it doesn't really matter.
I think it was at about the 4-minute mark. So that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Because the other stuff he talked about how Matt Corral looks great, which is what we've been talking about. Nobody's ahead in the backup quarterback race. Feels good about defense. He did give a quote that I wish people would listen to a little bit more. Not to pour cold water on the season, but Kiffin is clearly worried about depth, and he's talked about it over and over and over. And it is his way of communicating to the fan base, hey, look, we got a chance to be really good, but there's not a ton of margin for error here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, lose a tackle, lose a couple of receivers, lose a couple of defensive linemen, and it gets squirrely.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so let me see if I can
while you're working on that.
Dog's getting yelled at in my house.
He is.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's both of them. We had a mistake. Laura had already fed the dogs. I didn't know she'd fed the dogs, and so I fed them again.
So why are they getting yelled at?
Because they're probably misbehaving because they don't feel very good.
Because they ate too much.
Ate way too much.
Because labs don't have the ability to regulate their stomach where they...
they don't ever get full.
And they don't I'll eat a little now and they eat some later.
No.
If it's there.
If you serve them a meal, they eat said meal.
So now they're being pains.
Yes.
They get fed separately? Different bowls?
Yeah, different bowls, and we have to put one of them outside because one eats faster than the other, and we'll try to go steal the food of the first
Rizzo.
one. Rizzo will eat, yeah.
I had a guess there.
All right, let's see. I'm figuring this out. Uh-oh. Okay. Everybody hang tight.
3:47 is what Will
Yeah,
says.
I know. I'm
we'll start at
source,
3 minutes or something.
And then I'm going here, and I'm going here.
Lane, we're going to talk to him in just a little bit, but Chance Campbell, how's he fit in? What's he brought to the linebackers room? What have you seen from him?
That were made, and so we feel good about their development, and I think a lot of that had to do with the spring ball and being around them more, where we can, look at some things that does not regress their learning of day one stuff of playing running back.
We had Henry Parrish in here a couple days ago, and he said, and I quote, "Everybody thinks he's weird," and that was in regards to you. I'm curious, and he said it in a funny way. I'm curious, do you consider yourself weird, and who would you say is the weirdest person on the team?
Well, I didn't know that. I'm not really sure how you say someone's weird in a funny way, and it's a compliment, but. Who do I think is weird on it? I think Henry's weird on the team. So, but I mean that in a funny, nice way.
Lane, one of the
more that I hear it, the worse the question is, and the better the answer is.
The better the answer is.
The better the answer is, where he just takes the easy way, answers the question by, hey, Henry called me weird, so I'll call Henry weird, and then takes a shot at the writer. And I mean that in a funny,
nice
whatever way. Yeah. He's trying too hard. It's beat writer 101 trying too hard. It's also the same person that when Kiffin the first time, I'm piling on now, Parrish is going to call me and go, why are you being mean to my beat writer? It's going to happen tomorrow.
You think so?
Yeah. And I'm not really being mean, but this is twice now that he's taking Kiffin somewhat out of context. The first time was on the vaccine story when it first came out, and Kiffin said it's irresponsible not to get the vaccine, and then he qualified it. He said, especially if you're on a football team where you could lose a game, you could forfeit.
Because Kiffin included something in the quote about, hey, this isn't your typical job. You can't whatever. And
you can't zoom in this job. You can't zoom in a football game. Yeah. If you're a starting safety, you can't zoom your way into the coverage on Saturday if you're out with COVID.
Correct. Yes.
And so that wasn't a big deal and since then Lane has come out specifically and said he thinks it's irresponsible not to get vaccinated. Period.
Yeah.
So okay. But what if Lane had come back and said, that's not what I said? I'm not trying to make a political comment here. I'm talking about my football team, not Joe Schmo out on 6th Street. I wish Joe would get vaccinated, but I don't think it's I don't think if Joe doesn't get vaccinated, he's necessarily being irresponsible. Had Lane qualified, had come back and said, that's not what I said, he would have been exactly right. But Kiffin says irresponsible is a much bigger headline, and so many writers, and you know where I'm going with this, are looking for the super fast tweet. And they're not listening. And then if you're going to quote Parrish, quote him correctly. Henry Parrish.
Yeah.
If you're going to quote the kid calling his coach weird, do it in context. And was that the kind of what could Lane possibly have said? I mean, what is the answer you were going for?
Yes, I'm weird as hell.
Yeah, man, really strange.
Yeah.
I'm a weird dude.
I'm an odd duck. Like
I mean, where are you going with that?
Well,
and it makes it where these things now get even harder.
The only thing I will give the guy is he continues to talk in these press conferences and still ask. Because, I mean, there's been 2 or 3 moments in 2 weeks where you're like, oh, God, 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 where you must go, hey, you're just going to be quiet the rest of the day, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I was physically and visibly uncomfortable when he asked the exact same question Lane had just answered at media day.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at you where it was going. I'm like, oh, God.
Well, I was sitting right behind you. I went, he just asked that, didn't he? Didn't he just answer that?
I mean, but like when we say literally asked, I mean the previous question.
Previous question.
I mean, he closed the thing with, that really puts Ben at right guard. Unless everybody plays. So you think you're going to leave Ben at right guard because that really helps you? It's like, yeah, and like Lane deadpans him and goes, "Wasn't really."
Well, and he didn't
really catch the end there, huh?
So he did it. He came in on Tuesday, and the first thing Kiffin talked about was his question was David Johnson asked him. You guys are getting beat writer 101 here. I'm sorry. David Johnson asked him, hey, you had a chance to look at the film. Did it change your opinion of the scrimmage or whatever? And Lane's answer was, yeah, it's one of the reasons I really don't like doing those things right after a scrimmage is because I haven't seen the film. And when I watched the film, I kind of came across with a different impression. And he went on to talk about how the starting defense actually played better than he thought they did. That it was the backup defense that played as badly as he thought the defense played. And that it made him feel better about the starters, and it made him really worry about depth.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, sure.
And so the question right after that, so you feel better about the starting defense? And he just paused for a second, and he went, yes.
And that was it?
Yeah.
He didn't even elaborate. He didn't even try to elaborate.
And I bailed everybody out by asking about Henry Parrish at that point. It was my turn, and I said, hey, we're going to get Henry Parrish in a minute. I was curious if you could talk about what you thought about him as a player, both long-term and short-term. When I know he missed some time last season when he came in, he was pretty impactful. What are your thoughts on him? I don't think I said talk about, because anytime that I say the words talk about, I make myself.
You want someone to shove bamboo under your finger.
Well, I go run. I punish myself. I run 2 extra miles.
Oh, do you really?
Yes. I hate it. Hate that word. Can you talk about? Because the answer is yes, I could. Or no, I cannot.
True.
Don't ask a yes, no question.
You just
And don't ask them if they can talk about it, because they either can or they can't.
It's also a really hard question because you don't really know what. Hey, can you talk about your defense today?
I could.
They played.
Yes. They were there. They wore blue shirts.
Parrish is a columnist now, so yes, he is covering both SEC schools.
Yeah.
He'd been on the beat since 2002, I think.
He was on it when I got here.
2002, 2003?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I guess, am I the old man on the beat now?
Like I say, it made me feel really old because when he wasn't here, I was like looking around and people were asking questions, and I looked around and went, I'm not sure anybody knows more than I do as far as how long I've been around this place. Because I mentioned like Ed Orgeron. I'm looking around like nobody else covered Ed. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's that. Okay, yeah, I got the.
It's really raining.
I really hate you didn't cover Ed. Like the great Oxford smokeout night and all the linebackers getting suspended for marijuana and everything. I really hate you missed the Ed Orgeron experience on the day-to-day level.
Given what I know about it, I'm really glad that I missed it. It feels like I was given a break. And frankly, I don't know that I would have taken the job had he still been on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I heard horror stories.
Oh, it was something every day. It was, look. This is true. I mean, we're all over the place. It's what Thursday nights are. As you get into it professionally, you hope that you still have like the zeal and not like the fearlessness, but that you still pursue stories with the same type of vigor that you would as a student. But being a student reporter under Ed was so good because you don't really think about consequences. You're just chasing stories and almost trying to make headlines and different things. I mean, like my journalism professor at the time, he goes, yeah, the architect and the engineers don't put all their toothpick bridges out for display. And the point was, you're publishing every day and you're learning and you're going to get stuff wrong and we're just going at this thing. But with Ed, every day was something. And because you're a student, you've got all these student sources that go, hey, I saw so-and-so and so-and-so, and you're getting this gold mine of information. But it was so valuable to teach you, okay, what do I actually have? What is anonymous sources? What can we go with? What can we not go with? I mean, where's this thing go? And then you put the story out, and the next morning you're getting the calls from the coach and the SID, and you're getting chewed out and hearing about it, and you go, you know what? You learned some lessons under Eddie.
Oh, sure.
That was
sure, because he was the guy who read everything.
I mean, that night, I mean, we did, at the DM, we broke that story because we had a source who was basically at the party that every linebacker on the team, except for Patrick Willis and somebody else, might have been Brandon Thomas, now that I'm thinking back, was essentially arrested for drugs at the party. And because it's the way football things work, this is 2006? It was 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. They called, it was 2 days before Ole Miss Arkansas, when Arkansas beat the hell out of them in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
And instead of calling the cops, they called Barney to come get the